Tonight, you do not need to travel to a distant galaxy. You do not need to cross an ancient ocean or walk beneath the stars of another world. Our journey begins much closer. So close, in fact, that it has been with you through every moment of your life. Through every morning you have awakened, every road you have walked, every conversation, every quiet afternoon, and every night when you closed your eyes and disappeared into sleep. Tonight, we are going to visit your heart, not the heart drawn on cards, not the heart of poetry, but the warm, living organ resting quietly inside your chest. A small muscular world, hidden behind your ribs, working in darkness. You rarely think about it, and that is exactly as it should be. The heart does not ask to be watched. It does not wait for instructions. It simply continues. Beat, then release. Fill, then pump. Again and again. So allow yourself to become comfortable. Let your head settle into the pillow. Let your shoulders become heavy. There is nothing you need to memorize tonight. Nothing you need to study. We are simply going to wander, slowly, through one of the most remarkable places in the human body. Imagine the room around you growing softer. The edges of familiar objects begin to disappear into shadow. Outside, perhaps the evening air is cool. Perhaps a distant car passes, then fades. Perhaps the house is completely still. Whatever sounds remain can stay exactly where they are. You do not need to follow them. Instead, bring your attention gently toward the center of your chest, behind the breastbone, between the lungs, slightly left of the body's midline. The heart rests within the chest. It is not enormous. In an adult, it is often described as being roughly comparable in size to a closed fist, though every body is different, and despite the familiar drawings. The real heart is not shaped like the simple symbol we use for love. It is an asymmetrical muscular organ, broad near the top, narrower toward the lower tip. Its surface is crossed by blood vessels. Around it lies a protective double-walled sac called the pericardium. Between layers of that sac is a small amount of lubricating fluid, helping the moving heart work with very little friction. And move it does, constantly, even now. As you lie completely still, the heart is moving. Your hands may be motionless. Your legs may be resting. The muscles of your face may already be beginning to soften. But inside the chest, the heart continues its patient rhythm. Imagine becoming very small now, small enough to drift gently between the ribs. There is no discomfort in this imagined journey, only warmth, darkness, and the quiet movement of living tissue. We pass through the chest wall and enter the protected space within. The lungs rise on either side of us, soft, elastic, expanding with each breath. Between them, the heart waits. For a moment, simply watch. The movement is more subtle than the dramatic beating hearts shown in movies. The organ twists and changes shape slightly as its muscular walls contract. Then it relaxes, contracts, relaxes. The rhythm is beautifully organized. The heart is actually two closely coordinated pumps sharing one structure. The right side receives blood returning from the body, blood that has delivered much of its oxygen to working tissues. It sends that blood toward the lungs. There, oxygen enters the blood again, while carbon dioxide is released toward the air that will eventually leave with an exhalation. The refreshed blood returns to the left side of the heart, and the left side sends it outward, toward the brain, the kidneys, the muscles, the skin, and nearly every living tissue in the body, to the lungs, back to the heart, out to the body, back again. Two great loops: pulmonary circulation and systemic circulation. But tonight, there is no need to hold on to those names. Let them drift past. The important thing is the circle, the returning, the renewal. Blood comes home, then leaves again. Imagine standing beside a quiet railway station late at night. One train arrives. Passengers step onto the platform. Another train departs. The station never travels anywhere. Yet journeys are constantly passing through it. The heart is something like that. Blood arrives. Blood departs. The organ remains in the chest, while the contents of its chambers continue traveling. And those chambers are where we will go next. There are four. Two smaller receiving chambers above, the atria, and two larger pumping chambers below, the ventricles. Imagine approaching the right atrium first. Blood from the upper body enters through a large vein called the superior vena cava. Blood from the lower body returns through another great vessel, the inferior vena cava. These enormous veins deliver the returning blood into the right atrium. The journey may have begun almost anywhere, perhaps in a fingertip, perhaps in a muscle of the leg, perhaps near the brain. Countless streams eventually converge, and here, inside the right atrium, they meet. The blood is not blue. That familiar blue color in anatomy diagrams is simply a useful way of distinguishing blood carrying less oxygen from blood carrying more. Real venous blood remains a dark shade of red. Imagine it flowing around us now, warm, filled with red blood cells, each one carrying molecules, each one part of a journey that never truly stops. The right atrium fills. Then blood moves through a valve into the right ventricle. This valve is called the tricuspid valve. Its thin leaflets open when pressure favors forward movement. Then, as the ventricle prepares to contract, the valve closes. No conscious command is required. Pressure changes guide the movement. The right ventricle contracts. Its muscular wall squeezes inward. Blood is pushed toward another valve, the pulmonary valve. That valve opens, and suddenly, we are moving toward the lungs. The pulmonary arteries carry blood away from the heart. This is an interesting exception to a common shortcut people sometimes learn. Arteries are not defined by carrying oxygen-rich blood. They are defined by carrying blood away from the heart. Veins carry blood toward it. So these pulmonary arteries carry blood away from the right ventricle, toward the lungs, where it will receive oxygen. We follow the vessel as it branches. One path toward the right lung, another toward the left. The vessels become smaller and smaller until eventually, blood reaches microscopic capillaries surrounding tiny air spaces called alveoli. Imagine arriving at one alveolus. It is delicate, almost weightless in our imagination. Air from your last breath has reached this place. Within that air are oxygen molecules. Only an extremely thin barrier separates the air from the blood. Oxygen crosses. Carbon dioxide moves the other way. No tiny worker carries the molecules by hand. No door opens because someone gives an order. The exchange follows the physical conditions created by concentration differences. Thin membranes, blood flow, and ventilation. Quiet physics. Supporting life. A red blood cell passes beside us. Hemoglobin inside it binds oxygen. The cell continues. Another follows. Then another. The blood that arrived needing oxygen begins its return to the heart carrying more. We enter the pulmonary veins. And here is another useful exception. These veins carry oxygen-rich blood. Because veins are named for the direction they travel, toward the heart, the pulmonary veins bring us into the left atrium. For a moment, we rest inside this upper chamber. The walls are thinner than those of the powerful ventricle below. The atrium does not need to send blood across the entire body. Its job is quieter. Receive, then help fill the ventricle. Ahead lies the mitral valve. It opens. Blood moves downward. And now, we enter the strongest chamber of the heart, the left ventricle. Pause here. Imagine the walls around you. Thick, muscular, alive with countless cardiac cells. The right ventricle only needs to send blood through the nearby pulmonary circulation. But the left ventricle must create enough pressure to send blood throughout the systemic circulation, toward the head, the arms, the abdomen, the legs, all the way toward distant tissues, then eventually back again. So its muscular wall is substantially thicker. The chamber fills. For one brief moment, there is a sense of waiting. Then an electrical wave reaches the ventricular muscle. The cells contract together. Pressure rises. The mitral valve closes behind us. Ahead, the aortic valve opens, and blood moves into the aorta. Imagine being carried forward. The aorta is the body's largest artery. Its wall contains elastic tissue, allowing it to stretch as blood enters during ventricular contraction. Then, as the ventricle relaxes, the arterial wall recoils. This helps maintain blood flow between beats. One heartbeat does not simply throw blood into a rigid pipe. The vessels themselves participate. They stretch. They recoil. They guide. The circulation is a partnership between pump and pathway. Now imagine rising through the arch of the aorta. Branches lead upward toward the head and arms. The main vessel continues downward through the chest. Farther below, it passes through the abdomen. More branches leave along the way, toward the kidneys, the digestive organs, the pelvis, the legs. It resembles an enormous tree. The aorta is the trunk. Large arteries are branches. Smaller arteries divide again. Then arterioles. Then, at the farthest edges, vast networks of microscopic capillaries. The heartbeat reaches all of them indirectly. One contraction inside the chest, and a pressure wave travels through the arterial system. Perhaps you have felt that wave at your wrist. A tiny movement beneath the skin. Tap, tap, tap. That is your pulse. The pulse is not a tiny lump of blood racing instantly from the heart to your fingers. It is primarily a pressure wave traveling through the arterial system as the heart pumps and the vessel walls respond. The distinction is small, but beautiful. A heartbeat hidden deep inside the chest creates a wave you can feel far away, like a stone touching the surface of a pond, and ripples reaching the shore. You do not need to feel your pulse now. Let your hands remain still. The wave will continue without your attention. Instead, let us follow one small branch of the circulation, perhaps toward a resting muscle in your hand. The artery narrows, then divides. The walls become thinner. The pulse softens. Eventually, we enter a capillary. The vessel is so narrow that red blood cells may pass through in single file. sometimes deforming slightly to fit. One cell moves ahead of us. Its flexible shape changes as it enters the tiny passage. The strong pressure of the large arteries is gone now. Everything is quieter, slower, more intimate. Outside the thin capillary wall, living tissue waits. The cells have been using oxygen. They have been producing carbon dioxide. The blood arrives carrying what they need and ready to collect what must be carried away. Oxygen leaves the red blood cell. It crosses the capillary wall. It moves into the surrounding tissue and eventually reaches living cells. Think about the journey of that oxygen molecule. Only a short while ago, it may have been floating in the air around your face. You inhaled. It entered your lungs, crossed into your blood, attached to hemoglobin, passed through the left side of the heart, entered the aorta, traveled through smaller and smaller vessels. And now, it reaches a cell. The outside world has become part of your internal chemistry. For a while, because life is always exchanging, you are not sealed away from nature. Air enters you, water enters you, nutrients enter you. Molecules become part of your living processes, then eventually leave again. Breathing itself is a quiet conversation with the world. In and out, receive and release. The heart makes that conversation possible across the distances inside the body. Now carbon dioxide moves in the opposite direction. From the tissue into the blood, the red blood cells continue forward. The capillary joins another tiny vessel, then another. We enter a venule. The journey is turning homeward. Small veins merge into larger veins. The pressure is lower here. The walls are different from those of arteries. In the limbs, many veins contain one-way valves that help limit backward flow, and movement of the skeletal muscles can help squeeze venous blood toward the heart. Imagine walking slowly. Each step contracts muscles in the legs. Those contractions compress nearby veins. Valves help guide blood in the proper direction. Step, squeeze, release. Step, squeeze, release. Even walking has a hidden circulatory rhythm. But you are not walking tonight. Your legs are resting. And because you are lying down, gravity affects venous return differently than when you are standing. Breathing also contributes to pressure changes within the chest and abdomen, helping influence the return of blood toward the heart. Everything participates: muscles, breathing, vessels, pressure, the heart itself. No single part carries the entire task. Eventually, our returning blood enters one of the great veni cavae, and once again, we approach the right atrium. We have completed the circle, or perhaps there was never a beginning. Circulation has no true first point. Choose any location and follow the blood long enough, and you return. A circle does not care where the story begins. It only continues, and so does your heart. Yet we have not answered one important question. What tells the heart when to beat? What keeps millions of muscle cells coordinated? How can the rhythm continue while you are asleep, when your conscious mind is paying no attention at all? To find the answer, we must move into a tiny region of specialized tissue near the upper part of the right atrium, the sinoatrial node, the SA node. Your natural pacemaker. Imagine entering this small cluster of cells. There is nothing that looks like a clock, no pendulum, no mechanical timer. Instead, these specialized cells possess electrical properties that allow them to generate rhythmic impulses. Their membrane voltage gradually changes. Ion channels open and close. Charged particles move. Eventually, the electrical state reaches a threshold. An impulse begins. A tiny event with enormous consequences. The signal spreads through the atrial tissue. The atria become electrically activated. They contract. The signal reaches another important region, the atrioventricular node, the AV node. Here, conduction slows briefly. That small delay helps give the ventricles time to fill before they contract. Then the signal continues through specialized pathways, into the bundle branches, and through Purkinje fibers, spreading rapidly through the ventricular muscle. The ventricles contract. Blood moves. Then the electrical state of the cells recovers. The muscle relaxes. The chambers fill again, and the SA node prepares for another impulse. Signal, movement, recovery, again and again. Imagine this electrical activity not as a harsh spark, but as a soft wave of light. A glow begins high in the right atrium. It spreads gently across the upper chambers, pauses briefly, then travels downward. The ventricles brighten. They contract. The light fades. Darkness returns. Then, another glow. This has happened while you were laughing, while you were eating, while you were walking, while you were concentrating on work, while you were dreaming, and during all the nights you cannot remember. The conscious brain does not issue a separate command for each beat. The heart carries its own pacemaking system, yet the brain can influence the rhythm. Through the autonomic nervous system, the body can make the heart beat faster when more circulation is needed, or allow it to slow when demand is lower. Sympathetic signals can increase heart rate and strengthen cardiac contraction. Parasympathetic influence, much of it carried through the vagus nerve, can slow the pacemaker. This is why the heart can respond so quickly to the changing world. You stand up. The cardiovascular system adjusts. You begin walking. It adjusts again. You hear an unexpected sound. The rhythm may change. Then the moment passes, and the heart can settle. It is responsive, not rigid. Living rhythms rarely behave like perfect mechanical clocks. Even during quiet rest, the interval from one beat to another can vary slightly. Breathing can influence this variation. Autonomic signals shift. The body adapts from moment to moment. And now, as you lie quietly, you can allow that system to take care of itself. No need to slow your heart deliberately. No need to listen for it. No need to control your breathing. The body has practiced this longer than you have had words. Let the breath come. Let it leave. Let the next heartbeat arrive whenever it arrives. The heart knows its rhythm, and beneath that rhythm, there is another hidden world. The muscle itself, the myocardium, millions of cardiac muscle cells, joined into a coordinated living network. Inside each cell, microscopic structures transform electrical signals into physical force. Calcium plays an essential role. Proteins slide past one another. Energy stored in ADP is used. The cell shortens. Force is produced. Across the ventricle, countless cells do this together. A microscopic rearrangement of proteins becomes enough pressure to move blood throughout the body. Something impossibly small becomes something you can feel at the wrist. And these cells need energy constantly. The heart cannot simply decide to rest for an hour. So cardiac muscle is rich in mitochondria, the cellular structures heavily involved in producing ADP. Oxygen is essential to this energy-demanding tissue. And so, the heart requires its own blood supply. Look across its outer surface. You can see vessels winding over the muscle, the coronary arteries. They branch from near the beginning of the aorta and deliver oxygenated blood into the heart wall itself. There is a lovely circle hidden here. The heart pumps blood to the body, but the heart is also part of the body. The pump needs to be supplied by the circulation it helps create. Blood leaves the left ventricle. Some enters the coronary arteries. It reaches the cardiac muscle. Oxygen moves into heart cells. Those cells use energy to contract. Their contraction pumps more blood. The heart supports its own continued work, a loop within the larger loop. And tonight, all of these loops continue beneath your awareness. Pulmonary circulation, systemic circulation, coronary circulation, electrical activation, muscular contraction, venous return, gas exchange. Again and again, perhaps the complexity seems enormous, but you do not experience it as complexity. You experience it as life. You lie down, and the heart works. You fall asleep, and the heart works. You dream, and the heart works. Morning comes, and before you remember where you are, the heart is already there, beating, quietly carrying you into another day. For now, we will not move any farther. We have traveled from the chambers to the lungs, through the arteries, into the capillaries, back through the veins, and finally into the electrical and muscular life of the heart itself. There is much more to discover, but the night is long, and our journey should never hurry. So let the anatomy fade for a while. Forget the names. Forget the valves. Forget the vessels. Forget the electrical pathways. Keep only the simplest image, a warm heart, resting between two quiet lungs. The lungs expand. The heart beats. The lungs soften. The heart beats again. Outside, the night continues. Inside, the circulation continues. And you do not need to manage either one. Let your body become heavier. Let your jaw soften. Let the muscles around your eyes rest. Let your hands become warm and still. Nothing is required of you now. The heart can keep the night watch. You can sleep, beat, release, fill, pump, in, out, again and again, as the room becomes more distant, and the quiet world inside your chest carries on without you noticing. For now, simply drift. The journey has only begun. The quiet world inside your chest continues. The heart remains between the lungs, warm, protected, and almost completely hidden from awareness. A moment ago, we traveled through its chambers. We followed blood toward the lungs, watched oxygen enter, returned through the left side, and moved outward through the great branching vessels of the body. Now, we are going to follow the blood itself, not simply as a red river, but as a living tissue, a flowing community of cells, proteins, water, minerals, nutrients, hormones, gases, and countless molecules carried from one part of the body to another. The heart provides the movement, but blood gives that movement purpose. So imagine yourself becoming small again, small enough to drift inside the left ventricle. Around you, the chamber is filling. Blood enters from the left atrium, passing through the open mitral valve. The ventricular walls relax. For a moment, we float quietly. Then, the next electrical wave arrives. The muscle contracts. Pressure rises. The mitral valve closes behind us. Ahead, the aortic valve opens, and we are carried forward into the aorta. The journey begins again. But this time, instead of watching the vessel walls, look closely at the river around you. At first glance, blood seems like a single fluid, but under magnification, an entire world appears. Most numerous are the red blood cells. They drift around us in enormous numbers, small, flexible, and beautifully suited to their task. A mature human red blood cell has a distinctive shape. It is thinner in the center, thicker around the edge, something like a soft disc pressed gently inward on both sides. This shape gives it a large surface area relative to its volume, useful for exchanging gases, and its flexibility allows it to squeeze through vessels far narrower than the arteries we are traveling through now. Imagine one red blood cell floating beside us. It has no nucleus in its mature form. Much of its interior is devoted to hemoglobin, the protein that makes oxygen transport possible. Each hemoglobin molecule can bind oxygen. And when billions upon billions of red blood cells pass through the lungs, they become a vast moving transport system. Oxygen enters. Hemoglobin binds it. The cells travel. Then, in tissues where oxygen is needed, conditions encourage its release. A remarkably simple journey, repeated across an unimaginably large number of cells. Perhaps the red blood cell beside us recently passed through your lungs. Its hemoglobin is carrying oxygen now. We follow it as the aorta divides. The cell turns into a smaller artery, then another. The surroundings gradually narrow. The great central river becomes a stream. The stream becomes a channel. Eventually, we approach an arteriole. The red blood cell continues. Ahead, a capillary opens, and suddenly, the spacious journey disappears. The vessel becomes so narrow that our little red cell must change shape. It bends gently. Its membrane flexes, and it passes through one cell, then another, then another. Single file through a microscopic passage. Outside the capillary wall, perhaps we find a resting muscle. Its cells are quietly using energy. Even at rest, they are not inactive. Proteins are being maintained. Ion concentrations are being regulated. Molecules are being built and broken down. The chemistry of life continues, and that chemistry needs oxygen. The oxygen carried by hemoglobin begins to leave, across the red blood cell membrane, through the plasma, across the thin capillary wall, through the surrounding fluid, toward the cells. A molecule that entered the body with a breath has reached its destination. The red blood cell becomes slightly less oxygenated, but its journey is far from over. Carbon dioxide produced by the tissues is entering the blood. Much of that carbon dioxide will eventually be transported in another chemical form, as bicarbonate, while smaller portions travel in other ways. The details can remain soft tonight. We do not need to follow every chemical reaction, only the direction. Oxygen outward, carbon dioxide inward, giving, receiving. The red cell continues. The capillary becomes a venule. Venules merge into veins, and slowly, the cell begins traveling back toward the heart. It may make this complete circuit again and again during its life. Around 4 months is a common approximate lifespan for a red blood cell, though biology always contains variation. Eventually, Older or damaged red cells are removed from circulation, especially through organs such as the spleen and liver. Their useful components can be recovered. Iron can be recycled. New red blood cells are produced, mainly in the bone marrow. And so even the river itself is being renewed. Cells enter the circulation. They travel. They age. They leave. New cells replace them. The blood may seem permanent, but its components are always changing, like a river that keeps its name, even though the water within it never remains the same. Imagine standing beside a river at dusk. You return to the same bank every evening. The same trees stand nearby. The same stones rest beneath the surface. You call it the same river. Yet every moment, new water arrives. Old water moves downstream. The shape remains, while the contents change. Your circulation is like that. The heart remains. The vessels remain. But the blood is always moving, always exchanging, always renewing. And red blood cells are only one part of this living river. Drifting among them are white blood cells. They are much less numerous, but they belong to the body's vast system of immune defense. There are several major types, each with different roles. Some can engulf microbes and cellular debris. Some participate in highly specific immune responses. Some help coordinate inflammation. Others are involved in responses to parasites or allergic reactions. Tonight, we will not turn this into a lesson in immunology. Instead, imagine these cells as quiet travelers. They move through the bloodstream. But the bloodstream is not always their final workplace. Some white blood cells can leave blood vessels, enter tissues, and respond where they are needed. The circulation becomes their highway. The heart does not know which immune cell is passing through its chambers. It simply moves the blood. A red blood cell carrying oxygen. A white blood cell participating in defense. A hormone carrying a chemical message. A nutrient absorbed from food. All travel together. Different purposes. One river. Now, look closer. Between the larger cells are tiny cell fragments called platelets. They are important in the body's response to damaged blood vessels. Most of the time, they simply circulate, quiet passengers. But when a vessel is injured, a remarkable process can begin. Platelets can adhere near the damaged area, become activated, and help form a temporary plug. At the same time, a series of reactions involving clotting proteins can help stabilize the developing clot with strands of fibrin. The goal is simple: keep the blood inside the circulation. Repair the breach. Imagine a small stream flowing through an old garden. One afternoon, a crack appears in the channel wall. Water begins escaping. Workers quickly gather around the opening. A temporary barrier forms. Then stronger repairs follow. The body's response to vascular injury is vastly more sophisticated, but the image is gentle enough for tonight. The blood carries some of the very materials needed to prevent its own loss. Another elegant circle, and surrounding all these cells, there is plasma. A pale, straw-colored liquid, mostly water, but carrying an extraordinary variety of dissolved substances. Proteins, electrolytes, nutrients, hormones, waste products, gases, molecules moving between organs. Imagine plasma as the water of our river, while the cells are the travelers carried within it. A hormone released from one gland can enter the bloodstream, travel across the body, and influence cells far away. Nutrients absorbed through the digestive system can enter circulation, eventually reaching tissues that may use or store them. Waste products can be transported toward organs that process or remove them. Heat itself is redistributed through blood flow. The circulation is therefore more than an oxygen delivery system. It is transportation infrastructure for the entire body, a moving connection between distant places. The heart sits at the center of this network, but it does not decide where every molecule goes. Local blood vessels adjust. Chemical gradients guide exchange. Organs regulate their own environments. Hormonal systems communicate. The nervous system influences vessel tone and heart function. The kidneys regulate fluid and electrolytes. The lungs regulate gases. The liver processes countless substances. The body behaves less like a machine controlled by one central lever, and more like a vast community, with many systems constantly communicating, and the blood connects them. Now imagine following the circulation toward the brain. Blood rises through arteries in the neck. The brain is extraordinarily dependent on a continuous supply of oxygen and nutrients. Although it represents only a portion of the body's mass, its metabolic needs are substantial. Neurons maintain electrical gradients. Networks communicate. Memories are processed. Sensory information is interpreted. And tonight, as sleep approaches, the brain remains active. Sleep is not simply a brain shutting down. Its patterns change. Different stages arrive. Electrical activity shifts. Memories may be processed. Hormonal patterns change. The sleeping brain is still living tissue, and living tissue still requires circulation. So while consciousness fades, blood continues reaching the brain. Imagine drifting through one of its tiny capillaries. Outside, neurons lie in an intricate landscape. Branches extend from cells. Connections form enormous networks. There is no visible thought floating through the tissue. No little picture of a dream. Only cells, electrical activity, chemical signaling, and the physical machinery from which experience somehow emerges. A red blood cell passes. Oxygen leaves. Another follows. The heart continues far below, one organ supporting another, while neither enters your awareness. Perhaps later tonight, the brain will create a dream. Maybe a familiar street, a face, an ocean, a place that never existed. The dream may feel real for a little while, and all through it, the heart will continue pumping blood to the very tissue creating the dream. The dream may forget the body. The body does not forget the dreamer. Now, let us drift away from the brain, downward again, toward the kidneys. Two remarkable organs located toward the back of the abdomen. The kidneys receive a substantial blood supply, and here, blood is carefully filtered and regulated. Water balance, electrolytes, acid-base conditions, waste removal, long-term influences on blood pressure. The kidneys quietly participate in maintaining the internal environment that allows every cell to function. Imagine blood entering a kidney. The vessel branches repeatedly until we reach microscopic filtering structures. The details are intricate, beautiful, and worthy of an entire night of their own. But tonight, we will simply notice the relationship. The heart sends blood to the kidneys. The kidneys help regulate the volume and composition of the blood. That regulation influences the circulation. Once again, one system supports another, which supports the first. The body is filled with these loops. Now we move toward the liver, another great chemical landscape. Blood arriving here carries nutrients and other substances from the digestive system. The liver processes, stores, transforms, and helps regulate many compounds. Proteins found in blood plasma are produced here. The liver also participates in processing substances from old red blood cells. Again, the blood arrives carrying materials. The organ changes them. The blood leaves carrying something different. Every organ writes a little of its story into the bloodstream. If you could somehow read every molecule, the blood would tell you where it had been. A little oxygen lost here. A little carbon dioxide gained there. Nutrients absorbed. Hormones added. Waste products collected. Heat exchanged. A river carrying traces of every landscape it crosses. Now, imagine the circulation near the skin. The skin seems like the outer boundary of the body, but beneath its surface lies an extensive network of blood vessels. These vessels help nourish the tissue, but they also participate in temperature regulation. When the body needs to release more heat, blood flow near the skin can increase. More warmth reaches the surface, where heat can move into the environment. In colder conditions, blood flow near the skin may be reduced, helping conserve heat for deeper tissues. The heart pumps, but the distribution of that flow changes. Imagine a warm summer evening. The air is still. Your skin feels warm. Blood vessels near the surface widen. Warm blood moves closer to the outside world. Now imagine a cool winter morning. The air touches your hands. The vessels respond differently. The body protects its internal temperature. The circulation becomes part of your relationship with weather. Sunlight, wind, cold, warmth, all eventually influence what happens inside blood vessels. The outside world touches the skin, and the internal river responds. Now, return to the heart. Blood enters the right atrium, moves into the right ventricle, travels toward the lungs. The lungs exchange gases. Blood returns to the left atrium, moves into the left ventricle, then outward again. We have followed this path before, but perhaps now it feels different, because the blood is no longer simply red fluid. It is carrying stories. A red blood cell returning from a muscle, a hormone released somewhere far away, a molecule absorbed from yesterday's meal, a white blood cell traveling quietly, a platelet waiting, water that may have entered your body from a glass hours ago. Everything passes through the same chambers. The heart receives them without distinction, then sends them onward. And the heart itself needs the same river. We return to the coronary arteries. They emerge near the beginning of the aorta, then curve across the surface of the heart. Imagine following one. The vessel branches. Smaller branches penetrate the myocardium. Capillaries approach cardiac muscle cells. Oxygen leaves the blood. The heart receives the oxygen it needs to keep pumping oxygen to everyone else. There is almost a quiet humility in this arrangement. The heart may be central, but it is not independent. Without the lungs, its blood would not be renewed with oxygen. Without the coronary vessels, its muscle could not continue its work. Without the kidneys, fluid balance would fail. Without the nervous and endocrine systems, adaptation would be impaired. Without the blood itself, there would be nothing to pump. The heart is essential, but it belongs to something larger. You, the whole living body. And perhaps that is why studying the heart eventually becomes a story about almost everything else. Follow blood long enough, and you encounter the lungs, the brain, the kidneys, the liver, the muscles, the skin, the digestive system, the bone marrow, the endocrine system, the immune system. Every road seems to connect. Every organ participates. And all the while, the heart keeps the roads busy. Now, let us move toward the bone marrow. Deep within certain bones, new blood cells are being produced. Stem and progenitor cells give rise to developing blood cells through carefully regulated processes. Red blood cells mature. Many white blood cell lineages develop. Platelet-producing cells contribute the fragments that enter circulation. Imagine this hidden factory not as something noisy, but as a quiet garden. New cells developing in darkness, protected within bone. Some will soon enter the bloodstream. A new red blood cell has never yet passed through the heart. Imagine its first journey. It enters the circulation. It is carried toward the right side of the heart, right atrium, right ventricle, toward the lungs. For the first time, it passes through pulmonary capillaries. Oxygen binds to its hemoglobin. Then, through the pulmonary veins, into the left atrium, through the mitral valve, into the left ventricle. The ventricle contracts, and the cell is sent outward into the body, perhaps toward the brain, perhaps toward a toe, perhaps into the coronary circulation of the heart itself. Its destination depends on the branching river and the changing patterns of blood flow. But eventually, it will return and repeat the journey again and again for weeks and months. Then one day, its time in circulation will end. Its components will be processed, some will be reused, and another new cell will take its place. Nothing is wasted casually. The body recycles where it can. Iron atoms that once helped one red blood cell carry oxygen may later become part of another. Think about that for a moment. The materials inside you have histories. Atoms move. Molecules are dismantled. Others are built. Cells appear and disappear. Yet the larger pattern remains. You wake each morning feeling like the same person, while countless tiny parts of the body are being replaced, repaired, reorganized. Continuity built from change. Like our river, always moving, yet somehow remaining itself. The heart participates in this continuity. It too changes through life. A newborn heart is small, working within the circulation of a tiny body. As the body grows, the heart grows. Demands change. Activity changes. Age changes the cardiovascular system in many ways. Yet from early development onward, the central pattern remains familiar. Fill, contract, relax, receive, send, return, renew. And the heart story begins surprisingly early. During embryonic development, the cardiovascular system is among the earliest functional organ systems to emerge. The developing heart begins as a much simpler structure than the mature four-chambered organ. It bends, remodels, and partitions as development continues. Eventually, the familiar chambers and great vessels take shape. Before birth, however, the circulation works differently from the circulation we have been exploring. The developing lungs are not yet being used for breathing air. Oxygen comes through the placenta. Special fetal pathways allow blood to move through the cardiovascular system in ways suited to life before birth. Then, birth arrives. The first breaths expand the lungs. Pressure relationships change. Blood flow through the lungs increases. The circulation begins a remarkable transition. Structures that were useful before birth begin closing or changing function. A new pattern takes over. The lungs are now part of oxygen exchange with the outside air. The heart continues, but the world around it has changed completely. Imagine that first transition gently. For months, the developing body has existed in one circulatory arrangement. Then, air enters the lungs. The chest moves. The pulmonary vessels respond. Pressures shift. The heart adapts. Life outside begins. And from that time onward, breath and heartbeat remain companions. In, out, beat, beat. Two rhythms, one supporting the other. Tonight, those rhythms are quiet. The first breath happened long ago. There is no need to remember it. The body remembers in its own way, simply by continuing what began then. Your lungs expand. Your heart pumps. The blood moves between them, and the ancient partnership carries on. Now imagine floating above your body, not far away, only enough to see the entire circulatory system at once. The body itself is almost transparent. At the center, the heart. From it, arteries branch outward, toward the head, toward the arms, down through the chest and abdomen, into the pelvis, into the legs. The branches divide, then divide again, until they become too fine to see. Then the pathways gather into veins. Tiny streams become larger ones. They converge. They return. The whole body is filled with roads. If we could illuminate every blood vessel, the pattern would be astonishingly intricate. Yet there is no traffic jam manager consciously directing each cell. The system organizes flow through pressure, vessel structure, local chemical signals, nervous control, and countless interacting mechanisms. The heart simply continues providing the central driving force. Now, one heartbeat begins. The left ventricle contracts. A pressure wave enters the aorta. Blood moves toward the head, toward the arms, toward the abdomen, toward the legs. At the same time, the right ventricle sends blood toward the lungs. Then, the ventricles relax. The atria and ventricles fill. The great arteries recoil. Flow continues. Another beat begins. From our imaginary view above the body, the circulation resembles a tide passing through a forest of vessels. Wave, release, wave, release. And because you are resting, the demands are gentle. Your muscles are not running. Your digestive system may be quietly processing whatever remains from the day. Your brain is preparing for sleep, or perhaps already slipping toward it. Your skin exchanges heat with the room. Your kidneys continue filtering and regulating. Your liver continues its chemistry. Every organ has its nighttime work, and blood visits them all. There is something comforting in knowing that rest does not require everything inside you to stop. Sleep is possible because so many things continue. The heart continues. Breathing continues. Cells continue producing energy. Repair continues. The brain moves through its own changing patterns. You can surrender awareness precisely because the body does not surrender its work. So perhaps, for the next few moments, you can stop following the blood. Let the red cells travel without us. Let the white cells drift. Let the platelets circulate. Let the plasma carry its quiet cargo. We will remain beside the heart. Listen, not with your ears, But with imagination, a valve closes. Lube. A second set closes. Dub. Then a quiet space. Lube. Dub. The familiar sounds arise mainly from vibrations associated with the closing of heart valves and the movement of blood and cardiac structures. The first sound is associated chiefly with closure of the mitral and tricuspid valves as the ventricles begin contracting. The second is associated with closure of the aortic and pulmonary valves as the ventricles begin relaxing. Lube. Dub. Two sounds, marking transitions in the cycle, but between them, there is silence. And perhaps tonight, the silence matters just as much. The heart works, then relaxes, contracts, then releases. No muscle can remain contracted forever. The rhythm requires both effort and recovery, movement and pause. Imagine an ocean wave reaching a quiet shore. It rises, moves forward, spreads across the sand. Then it retreats. Another wave follows. The beauty is not only in the arrival, it is in the return. Your heart has its own tide. Systole, when the ventricles contract. Diastole, when they relax and fill. Push, receive, push, receive. And now, as your own body becomes heavier, perhaps you can borrow something from that rhythm. There is no need to hold tension continuously. Let the forehead release. Let the jaw loosen. Let the tongue rest. Let the shoulders drop. Let the fingers uncurl. Let the abdomen become soft. Let the legs sink into whatever is beneath them. Effort, then release. But now, mostly release. The heart can remain awake. You do not have to. The river can continue. You do not have to follow it. The blood knows no darkness, no bedtime, no clock on the wall. It simply moves according to the living conditions of the body, through chambers, through lungs, through arteries, through capillaries, through veins, home again, and perhaps, somewhere in your hand right now, a red blood cell is releasing oxygen. Somewhere near your brain, another is entering a tiny capillary. Somewhere in the heart wall, another is nourishing a cardiac muscle cell. Countless journeys, all happening at once. There is no need to imagine everyone. Let them become distant, like lights in a city seen from far above. At first, you notice individual streets, individual windows, individual cars. Then you rise higher. Details disappear. The whole city becomes a quiet glow. Let the circulation become like that now. No more individual cells. No more vessels. Only a warm glow moving through the body. From the heart, outward, then home. From the heart, outward, then home. And in the center, the quiet organ that never sleeps. It does not ask whether you are ready for the next beat. It simply gives it. Then another. Then another. The night grows deeper, while the river continues. And you can drift farther away from it now, knowing that every quiet journey is already being taken care of, without thought, without effort, without any help from you. The heart keeps watch. The blood keeps moving. And you can continue gently towards sleep. The river continues, quietly, patiently, through every part of the body. Red blood cells drift onward. Oxygen leaves the blood. Carbon dioxide returns. The kidneys filter. The liver processes. The brain remains nourished. And beneath all of this, the heart continues its rhythm. Beat, release, beat, release. But the heart is not working alone. It is constantly receiving information. Messages arrive from the nervous system, from hormones traveling through the blood, from pressure sensors hidden inside major arteries, and from the changing needs of tissues throughout the body. The heart listens in its own biological way, and then, without conscious thought, it responds. Tonight, we will follow this hidden conversation. Imagine yourself once more beside the heart. The chest around us is dark and warm. The lungs expand slowly on either side. With each inhalation, the diaphragm moves downward. With each exhalation, it rises again. The heart rests between these changing pressures, beating within a body that is never completely still. Even when you are sleeping, breathing changes the environment around the heart. Blood continues returning through the veins. Pressure shifts subtly. The nervous system continues adjusting the rhythm. Nothing needs to be perfectly fixed. Life depends on flexibility. Imagine now that morning has arrived. Not the real morning, only an imaginary one. Soft light enters a quiet room. You have been lying down for several hours. Your muscles are relaxed. Your heart is working at the level required by a resting body. Then, you wake. For a few moments, you remain still. Perhaps you hear birds outside. Perhaps there is distant traffic. Perhaps sunlight is beginning to warm one side of the room. Then, you sit up. The change seems ordinary. You have done it thousands of times. But inside the cardiovascular system, the landscape changes immediately. Gravity begins influencing the distribution of blood differently. When you were lying flat, the vertical distance between the heart and much of the body was relatively small. Now, as you sit and eventually stand, gravity encourages some blood to move toward the lower body. More blood can temporarily remain in the veins of the legs. Venous return toward the heart may briefly decrease. And if the body made no adjustment, blood pressure reaching the brain could fall. Yet usually, you simply stand and continue your morning. Why? Because the body notices. Hidden within the walls of certain major arteries are specialized sensory endings that respond to stretch. Among the most important are baroreceptors, located in regions including the carotid sinus in the neck and the aortic arch near the heart. When arterial pressure changes, the amount of stretch in these vessel walls changes too. The receptors respond. Signals travel toward the brainstem, and there, deep beneath conscious thought, the nervous system begins making adjustments. Imagine a quiet control room. No people, no screens, no alarms. Only living networks of neurons. Information arrives. Pressure has changed. The response begins. Autonomic signals to the heart and blood vessels shift. The heart may beat a little faster. Its contractions may become stronger. Some blood vessels may narrow. These changes help maintain circulation to important tissues, including the brain. All of this can happen quickly. You stand, and the body adjusts. You walk away, perhaps never knowing that anything happened. The heart has answered a message you never heard. Now, imagine beginning a slow walk. Nothing strenuous, only a peaceful path in the early morning. The ground is cool beneath your feet. The air has the freshness that sometimes belongs to the first hours of the day. Your muscles begin contracting. One step, then another. At first, the demand is small, but compared with complete rest, the working muscles require more energy. They use oxygen more quickly. They produce more carbon dioxide. Local conditions inside the tissues begin changing. Small blood vessels supplying active muscles can widen, allowing greater flow. At the same time, the nervous system adjusts the heart. Its natural pacemaker begins generating impulses more frequently. The rhythm becomes slightly quicker. Beat, beat, beat. Not hurried, simply responsive. The heart does not know that you are walking along a peaceful path. It does not see the morning. It does not hear the birds. But it receives signals created by what the body is doing. The brain, the muscles, the blood vessels, the chemistry of the tissues, all contribute to the response. And the heart changes its work accordingly. You walk a little farther. Perhaps the path rises gently. The slope is not steep. Still, the muscles of the legs work harder. Your breathing becomes deeper. The heart rate rises. The amount of blood pumped each minute increases. More oxygen reaches the active muscles. More carbon dioxide is carried toward the lungs. The coronary circulation increases its support of the working heart muscle. The entire system shifts together. Imagine looking down from above. A person walking up a small hill. Nothing remarkable to see. One foot, then the other. But inside, thousands of adjustments are occurring at once. Blood vessels change diameter. Breathing changes. Heart rate changes. Venous return changes. Muscles alter their metabolism. Heat production increases. Blood flow is redistributed. The body becomes a coordinated response to movement. And none of this requires conscious calculation. You do not need to think. Increase cardiac output now. You do not need to instruct your arterioles to change diameter. You simply walk. The body handles the rest. Perhaps this is one of the quiet miracles we overlook most often. You can decide where to go without deciding how to keep yourself alive while going there. The conscious mind chooses the path. The body manages the journey. Now, the top of the hill arrives. You stop. There is a wooden bench beneath a tree. You sit. The imaginary morning is calm. A breeze moves through the leaves. Your legs stop working so hard. Their demand for oxygen begins to fall. Breathing gradually becomes easier. The nervous system changes its signals again. The heart begins slowing. Not instantly. There is no sudden switch. Instead, the body moves gently from one state toward another. A little slower, then slower still. The stronger rhythm of activity softens. Recovery. Imagine a lake after a small boat has passed. For a while, waves spread across the surface. Then the boat disappears around a bend. The waves become smaller, smaller, until the lake returns to quiet water. Your cardiovascular system also knows how to return. Activity rises, then falls. Demand increases, then decreases. The heart responds in both directions. This flexibility is essential. A heart that could only beat at one fixed rate would not be suited to a changing life. Sometimes the body sleeps. Sometimes it walks. Sometimes it climbs. Sometimes it laughs. Sometimes it is startled. Sometimes it sits quietly beside a window. Each moment creates different demands, and the heart adapts. Now, let the morning path fade. The bench disappears. The tree becomes shadow. We return to the quiet room at night. Your body is resting again. The demands are low, and another branch of the nervous system becomes especially important: the parasympathetic nervous system. One of its major pathways to the heart travels through the vagus nerve. The vagus begins in the brainstem, then follows a long wandering course through the neck, into the chest, and onward toward organs in the abdomen. Its name comes from a word meaning wandering, and it is well named. The nerve travels far. Among its many roles, parasympathetic signals carried through the vagus can slow the activity of the heart's natural pacemaker. Imagine the SA note again. Those specialized cells gradually approach the threshold for another electrical impulse. When parasympathetic influence becomes stronger, the timing can shift. The next impulse takes a little longer to arrive. The interval between beats lengthens. Beat, pause, beat, pause. The heart settles. This is not weakness. It is efficiency. A resting body does not need the same cardiac output as a body running uphill. The heart responds to what is required. And during sleep, for many people, the cardiovascular system enters a quieter pattern. Heart rate often decreases. Blood pressure commonly falls. The balance of autonomic activity changes. The body enters the physiology of night. Imagine a city after midnight. During the day, roads are crowded. Doors open and close. People hurry along sidewalks. Machines operate. Trains arrive. Then evening passes, and the city becomes quieter. It does not disappear. Power stations still work. Water still moves through pipes. Hospitals remain open. Streetlights glow. Essential systems continue. But the pace changes. Your sleeping body is something like that. The heart remains on duty. The lungs remain on duty. The brain remains active in changing patterns. The kidneys continue their work. The liver continues. Cells continue repairing and maintaining themselves. But the demands of waking movement have softened. Night has its own physiology, and the heart follows it. Now, listen to your imaginary breathing, in and out. You may notice that breathing and heartbeat are not entirely separate rhythms. In many healthy people, especially when resting, heart rate can vary slightly with respiration. It may increase somewhat during inhalation and decrease during exhalation. This pattern is called respiratory sinus arrhythmia. Despite the word arrhythmia, in this context, it can be a normal physiological phenomenon. It reflects, in part, changing autonomic influences as breathing continues. Imagine two gentle waves crossing the same lake. One is slow, the rhythm of breathing. The other is faster, the rhythm of the heart. They are distinct, yet they influence one another. In, the rhythm shifts subtly. Out, it shifts again. You do not need to make this happen. You do not need to breathe according to a special count. Simply allow the body to breathe naturally. The conversation is already taking place, and this hidden communication extends beyond nerves. Hormones can influence the heart as well. Imagine an unexpected sound during the day. A glass slips from a table in another room. It hits the floor. For an instant, the nervous system becomes alert. Your attention turns. The sympathetic nervous system responds. The adrenal glands can release hormones, including epinephrine, also known as adrenaline. These chemical messengers travel through the bloodstream. The heart responds. The rate may increase. Contractions can become stronger. Blood flow is prepared for action. Then, you realize that nothing dangerous has happened. The sound is over. The moment passes. The body gradually settles. The heart returns toward its previous rhythm. This response is useful. Throughout human evolution, the ability to rapidly increase circulation when action was required could be essential. But the same biological machinery can respond to modern experiences too. A sudden sound, a difficult conversation, excitement, anticipation, even a thought. The heart does not understand the story behind the event. It responds to signals. And this is where the physical heart becomes intertwined with the human language of emotion. For thousands of years, people have spoken about the heart as though it were the home of feeling. A loving heart, a frightened heart, a courageous heart, a broken heart. We now understand that emotions arise from complex interactions involving the brain and the rest of the body. Love is not stored inside the left ventricle. Courage does not sit behind the aortic valve. Memories do not float through coronary arteries. And yet, the ancient association makes sense. Because emotion can change the heart. Imagine seeing someone you have missed for a long time. At first, perhaps only a figure in the distance. Then, recognition, a familiar face, a familiar movement. The brain processes what you see. Memory appears. Emotion follows. And almost immediately, the body joins the experience. Your breathing may change. The heart may beat faster. The chest may feel warm. You may smile before you have consciously decided to. The emotion is experienced through the whole body. And the heart becomes part of that feeling. Or imagine opening a message containing wonderful news. You read it once. Then again, suddenly, the heart feels more noticeable. Perhaps it beats harder. Perhaps your breathing changes. Perhaps you stand up and walk around the room without knowing why. The body participates in joy. Now imagine something quieter. You are sitting beside someone you trust. No conversation is necessary. The room is calm. Nothing urgent is happening. Breathing is easy. Muscles relax. The heart follows the physiology of that quieter state. Emotion does not always make the heart race. Calm has a cardiovascular language too. And tonight, that is the language we want. Not forced calm. Not something you need to create. Only the absence of anything you must respond to. There is no hill to climb. No sudden sound to investigate. No message that needs an answer. No conversation to prepare. The body can remain here. The heart can remain here. And tomorrow can remain outside the room. If a thought about tomorrow appears, let it appear. The brain is good at producing thoughts. That is what brains do. You do not need to argue with it. Imagine the thought as a small boat drifting down a river. You see it. Then, the current carries it away. Another may appear. Let that one travel too. The heart does not need to follow every thought. Neither do you. Now, imagine descending deeper into the nervous system. We travel toward the brainstem. This ancient region performs many essential functions related to basic life. Networks here participate in regulating breathing, cardiovascular activity, sleep and wake processes, and much more. You are not consciously aware of most of its work. That is useful. Imagine if every heartbeat required a decision. Beat now? Perhaps wait? Should the next contraction be stronger? Should this blood vessel narrow? Should breathing speed up? Conscious life would be impossible. Instead, layers of automatic control operate beneath awareness. The brainstem communicates with the heart. Pressure receptors send information. Chemical sensors contribute information about conditions in the blood. Autonomic nerves carry responses outward. The heart changes. The vessels change. The lungs change their activity. Homeostasis emerges. Homeostasis is often described as the maintenance of a relatively stable internal environment. But stable does not mean frozen. The body is never perfectly still. Temperature fluctuates slightly. Blood pressure changes. Heart rate changes. Blood gases change. Fluid levels shift. What matters is regulation, correction, adaptation. Imagine balancing gently in a small boat. The water beneath you moves. The boat tilts slightly left. You adjust. A small wave arrives from the right. Another adjustment. You remain upright. Not because the world stops moving, but because you keep responding to movement. The body does something similar. Balance through change. The heart participates constantly. Now, let us return to the major arteries near the heart. Another pressure wave arrives. The aorta stretches. Baroreceptors sense the changing wall tension. Information travels toward the brain. Another heartbeat follows. The cycle continues. Pressure rises during ventricular contraction, then falls as the ventricle relaxes. This is why blood pressure is commonly expressed using two values. One associated with the higher arterial pressure during ventricular contraction, systolic pressure, and another associated with the lower arterial pressure during relaxation between contractions, diastolic pressure. Tonight, there is no need for numbers. No cuff around the arm. No screen. No measurement. Only the idea. The heart creates pressure. The arteries receive it. Their elastic walls stretch. Then recoil. Blood continues forward. Smaller vessels regulate resistance. Capillaries receive a gentler flow. Veins gather the blood and return it home. Pressure is not the goal. It is part of what makes flow possible. And flow makes exchange possible. Imagine water moving through an irrigation system. The purpose is not pressure for its own sake. The purpose is to bring water to the places that need it. In the body, blood pressure helps drive blood toward tissues. The destination is the microscopic exchange surface. A brain cell, a muscle fiber, a cell in the skin, a cardiac muscle cell. That is where circulation fulfills its purpose. Oxygen delivered, carbon dioxide collected, nutrients exchanged, life supported, and the body regulates this pressure through many interacting systems. The heart matters. The diameter of blood vessels matters. Blood volume matters. The kidneys matter. Hormones matter. The nervous system matters. Again, there is no single ruler of the circulation. It is cooperation. Now, let us visit the kidneys once more. Not for long, only enough to see another part of this hidden conversation. The kidneys help regulate sodium and water balance. By influencing the amount of fluid retained or removed, they contribute to the regulation of blood volume. They also participate in hormonal pathways that influence blood pressure. One of these pathways involves the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system. The full chemistry is intricate. Tonight, we can let the long name drift away. Simply imagine this. The kidneys are not passive filters. They are active participants in cardiovascular regulation. They receive information from the circulation, and they influence the circulation in return. Heart, blood vessels, kidneys, nervous system, hormones. A conversation with many voices, and you are sleeping through almost all of it. Or perhaps, you will be soon. Now imagine the body during deep, quiet sleep. The room has become cool. The blanket feels warm. Outside, the world continues without you. Perhaps clouds are moving over rooftops. Perhaps trees are standing motionless. Perhaps a distant highway carries a few late travelers. But inside, your body has entered its own night. The muscles are mostly still. The eyes are closed. The brain's activity has shifted into patterns characteristic of sleep. The heart continues. Its rhythm may be slower than during the waking day. Blood pressure may be lower. Breathing is automatic. The body's demands have changed. And then, later, another stage of sleep arrives. Dreaming may become more vivid. During rapid eye movement sleep, the autonomic nervous system can become more variable. Heart rate and breathing may change. The cardiovascular system remains responsive, even while the conscious mind is wandering through a dream. Imagine that dream. Perhaps you are walking beside the sea. The beach is empty. Moonlight lies across the water. Waves roll toward the shore. In the dream, you may not remember your bedroom. You may not remember this story. You may not even remember that you are asleep. Yet the heart remains connected to the real body. The dream changes, and autonomic activity may change with it. The heart responds to signals from a brain, creating a world that does not physically exist around you. There is something extraordinary about that. A dream can be imaginary, but the body experiencing it is real. The heart beating beneath the dream is real. The blood moving through the sleeping brain is real. The oxygen reaching neurons is real. The imagined ocean depends on a real circulation. The dream's moonlight depends on living brain tissue supplied by real blood. And through all of it, the heart continues. Now, let the dream ocean disappear. We return to the heart itself. Imagine placing a stethoscope gently against the chest. Nothing invasive. Only a small listening surface touching the skin. For centuries, physicians have learned about the heart by listening. Before modern imaging, before sophisticated monitors, sound offered a window into the hidden organ. Loop, dub, loop, dub. The first heart sound occurs near the beginning of ventricular contraction, when the atrioventricular valves close and the cardiovascular structures vibrate. The second occurs as the aortic and pulmonary valves close near the beginning of ventricular relaxation. The sounds are brief. Between them, blood is moving, pressure is changing, muscle is contracting and relaxing. Imagine listening in a dark room. Loop, dub, then quiet. Loop, dub, then quiet again. The silence between sounds belongs to the heartbeat too. The heart is not a continuous pounding machine. It has phases: contraction, relaxation, filling, another contraction. Every beat contains work and release. Now imagine replacing the stethoscope with something different. A small ultrasound probe rests gently against the chest. High-frequency sound waves travel inward. Echoes return. A machine uses them to create moving images. And on a dark screen, the heart appears, a living heart, in motion. The chambers do not look like the simple diagrams from a school book. They move. Walls thicken during contraction. Valves open. Valves close. Blood enters. Blood leaves. The geometry changes from moment to moment. Imagine watching the left ventricle. It fills. The mitral valve closes. The ventricular wall contracts inward. The chamber becomes smaller. Blood moves through the aortic valve. Then, The muscle relaxes. The chamber expands. Filling begins again. The cycle looks almost graceful. No sudden mechanical violence, only coordinated motion. A structure designed by evolution through countless generations, performing its ancient rhythm. With Doppler ultrasound, the movement of blood can also be represented visually. Colors may appear on the screen, showing flow relative to the probe. The colors are not the true colors of the blood. They are a visual code, a translation, something invisible made visible. And suddenly, the heart becomes a landscape of moving currents. A valve opens. Color moves through. The chamber fills. The next contraction sends flow outward. Again and again. For most of human history, no one could watch this happening inside a living chest. The heart remained hidden. People felt pulses. They listened. They imagined. Today, we can watch. And yet, the heart itself does not care whether it is being observed. Remove the ultrasound probe. Turn off the screen. And the heart continues exactly as before. It does not need an audience. Now, another window. Small electrodes rest on the skin. They detect tiny electrical differences associated with the heart's activity. An electrocardiogram begins. A line moves across a screen. A small wave appears. The P wave, associated with atrial depolarization. Then, a sharper complex, the QRS complex, associated with ventricular depolarization. Then, a gentler T wave, associated with ventricular repolarization. P, QRS, T, then another cycle. P, QRS, T, a simple tracing, created by immensely complex cellular events. Inside cardiac cells, charged ions move across membranes. Electrical states change. The activation wave spreads. Outside, a line rises and falls. The microscopic world leaves a signature on the skin. Imagine the tracing moving across the screen. A small hill, a narrow mountain, a softer hill, then open space. Again. The heart writes its electrical story continuously. But once more, the machine is only watching. Remove the electrodes, and the story continues invisibly. The SA node fires. The atria activate. The signal pauses at the AV node. The ventricles activate. The cells recover. Another impulse begins. No monitor required. Now, let every medical instrument disappear. The stethoscope fades. The ultrasound screen goes dark. The ECG line vanishes. The examination room dissolves. There is no hospital, no machine, no measurement. Only you, resting in a quiet room. And your heart, hidden exactly where it belongs. You do not need to see it. You do not need to hear it. You do not need to know the rate. The body is already listening. The baroreceptors are listening to pressure. The nervous system is listening to the body's needs. The kidneys are responding to the circulation. The blood vessels are responding to local tissues. The heart is responding to signals. A hidden conversation, continuing beneath consciousness. And perhaps, that means you can stop listening entirely. Let the body talk to itself. It has been doing so all day. It will continue all night. Your only task, if there is any task at all, is to become comfortable. Let your forehead soften. Let the tiny muscles around your eyes release. Let your jaw rest. Let the shoulders sink. The arms can become heavy. The hands can remain still. The abdomen can move gently with breathing. The legs need not carry you anywhere. The feet have finished their journey for today. There is nowhere else to go. The heart can respond if something changes. The nervous system can respond. The circulation can respond. You do not need to remain awake in case the body needs you. It already has its night watch. So imagine one final message traveling through the vagus nerve, not as an instruction you control, but as a soft biological influence. The pacemaker slows into the rhythm appropriate for rest. The heart beats, then waits. Another beat, another quiet interval. The lungs expand, then soften. The blood moves outward, then returns. Everything comes and goes, even thoughts. A thought appears, then disappears. A memory rises, then fades. A sound enters awareness, then moves away. Nothing needs to stay. The heart itself teaches the pattern. Receive, then release. Fill, then empty. Contract, then relax. Again and again. And now, you can release this chapter too. The morning walk is gone. The hill is gone. The dream ocean is gone. The medical screens are dark. Only the night remains. And somewhere beneath your ribs, the hidden conversation continues. Softly, automatically, perfectly content to carry on without your attention. Let it continue, and let yourself drift. Deeper, quieter, farther from the words. While the heart keeps its gentle rhythm, through the darkness and into sleep, the hidden conversation continues. Quiet signals moving through nerves, pressure changing within vessels, blood returning, valves opening, muscle contracting, then relaxing again. And while all of this happens from one moment to the next, there is another journey taking place, a much slower journey, one measured not in seconds, but in years. Because the heart you carry tonight has traveled with you through an entire lifetime. It has changed as you have changed. It has grown as you have grown. It has responded to childhood, to movement, to rest, to emotion, to ordinary days you no longer remember. And through all those years, its fundamental task has remained beautifully simple. Receive blood. Send blood onward. Receive again. So tonight, let us leave the microscopic world for a while. Let the ions, the proteins, the electrical pathways, and the tiny capillaries fade gently into the background. Instead, imagine time itself becoming a long, quiet river. We will drift backward along it, toward the beginning of the heart's story, long before your first memory, long before your first word, before you ever saw daylight. Your developing body already needed a way to move nutrients and gases from place to place. Early in embryonic development, cells that will contribute to the cardiovascular system begin organizing. The developing heart does not begin as a miniature version of the adult organ. There are not immediately 4 perfect chambers for mature valves and all the familiar vessels. The beginning is simpler. A primitive heart tube forms, and then, through an extraordinary sequence of growth and remodeling, that tube changes. It bends. It loops. Different regions develop. Walls begin forming between spaces. Valves take shape. The great vessels are organized. The anatomy becomes increasingly complex. Imagine it gently, not as machinery being assembled, but as a landscape slowly forming. A river begins as a small stream. The stream curves. Branches appear. Banks become defined. New channels form. And gradually, a complete system emerges. The developing heart begins contracting very early, while its structure is still changing. That is one of the remarkable features of this story. The organ must develop while participating in circulation. It cannot simply wait until every detail is complete. Form and function grow together. The heart changes, while blood moves through it. Day after day, the tiny body becomes larger. The heart becomes more organized. But before birth, circulation follows a pattern different from the one we have explored tonight. The developing lungs are present, but they are not yet exchanging oxygen with the outside air. There is no breath of cool evening air. No rise and fall of the chest in the way there will be after birth. Instead, oxygen and nutrients are supplied through the placenta. The fetal circulation includes temporary pathways suited to this unique world before breathing begins. Blood can bypass much of the pulmonary circulation through specialized connections. One of these allows blood to pass between the upper chambers of the heart. Another connects major vessels in a way that directs blood away from much of the inactive lung circulation. These pathways make sense for a body whose oxygen supply is arriving from the placenta rather than from air. For months, this arrangement supports development. The heart pumps, blood travels, the body grows, and then, one day, everything changes. Birth. Imagine the moment gently. No urgency tonight, only transition. The newborn takes those first breaths. The lungs expand with air. Blood vessels within the lungs respond. Pulmonary blood flow increases. Pressure relationships within the heart begin changing. The temporary fetal pathways are no longer needed in the same way. Over time, they normally close or transform. A new circulation takes over. Right heart toward the lungs, left heart toward the body. The familiar pattern begins. A breath enters. Oxygen crosses into blood. Blood returns to the heart. The left ventricle sends it outward. The relationship between lungs and heart that will continue for the rest of life has entered a new phase. Imagine that tiny heart now, small enough to fit within a newborn chest, beating more rapidly than the resting heart of most adults. Its owner knows nothing about ventricles, nothing about arteries, nothing about oxygen. There is only sensation, warmth, sound, touch, light, hunger, sleep. Yet beneath all of those first experiences, the heart is already working. Every first has a heartbeat behind it. The first breath, the first sleep outside the womb, the first time the eyes open to daylight, the first time familiar voices become part of the world. The heart is there, not storing those memories, not understanding them, simply supporting the living brain and body in which experience is unfolding. Days become weeks. Weeks become months. The body grows. The heart grows with it. Soon, there is movement. Hands reach. Feet kick. The body rolls, sits, crawls, and eventually begins exploring the strange problem of standing upright. Imagine those first uncertain steps. The balance is imperfect. The legs are learning. The brain is coordinating muscles in ways it has never needed before. One step, a pause, another, perhaps a fall onto a soft floor, then another attempt, and inside the chest, the cardiovascular system responds to each little burst of activity. The heart speeds when demand rises. It settles when the child rests. Long before anyone learns the word exercise, the heart understands activity, not intellectually, biologically, Movement asks for more circulation. The heart responds. Then childhood expands. Imagine a warm afternoon. A child runs across grass. There is no reason to run, no destination. Running itself is enough. Feet strike the ground. Arms swing. Breathing deepens. The heart beats faster. Blood moves more quickly toward working muscles. Heat is produced. Blood flow near the skin changes. The cardiovascular system responds to joy without knowing what joy is. The child stops, perhaps laughing, perhaps breathless. The heart remains quick for a while, then gradually. Recovery. Slower, slower, until another interesting thing catches the child's attention, and the running begins again. The heart follows. There is a beautiful flexibility in the young cardiovascular system. Rest, movement, rest again. Each transition is another quiet rehearsal for the changing demands of life. And through childhood, the heart itself grows. Its chambers become larger. Its muscular walls change as the body becomes larger and the circulatory demands increase. The blood vessels grow too. The entire network expands with the person it serves. Imagine looking at the circulatory system not as something finished, but as a living map that grows along with the landscape. Bones lengthen, muscles become larger, organs mature. The distance from heart to toes increases. Yet circulation continues. No day arrives when the heart announces, the body has become too large. The system grows together. Years pass. The child becomes an adolescent. The body changes rapidly. Hormonal signals shift. Height may increase quickly. Muscle and body composition change. The cardiovascular system adapts as part of this broader transformation, and emotion becomes part of the story in new ways. Perhaps there is nervousness before an important event, a first performance, a competition, an examination, a conversation that feels enormously important. The mind anticipates what might happen. The sympathetic nervous system responds. The heart becomes suddenly noticeable. Beat, beat, beat. It may seem as though the heart itself understands the moment. Of course, it does not, but it participates so faithfully in the body's response that humans have always found it difficult to separate heartbeat from feeling. A hand may rest over the chest. The rhythm can be felt, and for a few moments, the hidden heart is no longer hidden. Then the event passes. The nervous system settles. The rhythm softens. Another experience joins the enormous collection of moments that make up a life. The heart does not preserve the memory, but it was there while the memory was formed. Now imagine time moving forward. Adulthood arrives almost invisibly. There is rarely one morning when a person wakes and feels that childhood has officially ended. Instead, responsibilities accumulate. Days acquire schedules. People travel to work. Meals are prepared. Bills are paid. Families grow. Friends come and go. Years begin moving more quickly than they seemed to before. And the heart continues. Think of how many ordinary moments it accompanies. Standing in a kitchen waiting for water to boil. Sitting in traffic beneath a gray sky. Walking through a supermarket. Opening a window on a cool morning. Listening to rain. Reading late at night. Falling asleep during a movie. Waiting for someone to arrive. Watching sunlight move slowly across a wall. Most of life is not made of dramatic events. It is made of ordinary minutes. And every ordinary minute has a heartbeat. Perhaps that is the most remarkable part of the heart story. Its greatest achievement is not a single spectacular performance. It is continuity. One beat is not difficult to imagine. A muscle contracts, blood moves, but then comes another, and another, and another, through breakfast, through afternoon, through winter, through summer, through birthdays that seemed important, and Tuesdays that disappeared without leaving a memory. The heart's work becomes extraordinary through repetition. Imagine a lighthouse on a remote coast. Night after night, its beam turns across the sea. Storms arrive. Fog settles. Summer evenings remain bright for hours. Winter darkness comes early. Ships appear and disappear. People who once tended the lighthouse grow older. Yet the beam continues its circle. Again and again, the heart has something of that quiet persistence. Not identical, not mechanical, but dependable enough that consciousness can forget about it almost completely. And forgetting is a kind of gift. You do not need to spend the day supervising your circulation. The heart works in the background, leaving the conscious mind free to think about almost everything else. Now imagine adulthood during movement. Perhaps someone takes up walking regularly. At first, a short distance, then a little farther. The muscles adapt. The cardiovascular system responds to repeated activity. With regular endurance training, the heart and circulation can become more efficient in several ways. The amount of blood pumped with each contraction may increase. The body's ability to deliver and use oxygen can improve. In some well-trained people, the resting heart rate becomes lower because each beat can move a greater volume of blood. The heart adapts to repeated demands. But adaptation does not require athletic competition. The cardiovascular system responds every day to ordinary movement. Walking upstairs, carrying groceries, working in a garden, playing with a child, crossing a parking lot, standing from a chair. The heart meets the body where it is, sometimes faster, sometimes slower, always adjusting. Now, imagine a quiet evening after a long day. Shoes are removed. The lights become dim. The body settles into a chair. Muscles that were active throughout the day begin relaxing. The heart no longer needs to support the same level of movement. The autonomic balance changes. The rhythm may slow. Breathing becomes easier. The entire cardiovascular system begins moving toward night. There is no sharp border between daytime and sleep. The transition happens gradually. A yawn, a heavier feeling behind the eyes, a little less interest in whatever is happening outside. The body begins turning inward, and the heart follows the changing demand. Soon, the person lies down. Gravity changes its influence on the circulation. Venous return changes. The cardiovascular system adjusts. A blanket is pulled upward. The eyes close. The conscious day ends. But the heart does not know that the story has stopped. Its story continues. During sleep, different stages come and go. In quieter stages, heart rate and blood pressure often decrease. Then REM sleep may bring more variability. A dream begins. Perhaps the sleeping person is young again, walking through a childhood home that no longer exists. In the dream, the room seemed perfectly familiar. A door opens. Someone long absent is standing there. The dreamer feels surprise. Emotion changes. The sleeping brain sends different signals through the autonomic nervous system. The heartbeat may change. A memory, recreated inside the sleeping brain, influences a heart decades older than the person appearing in the dream. Time becomes strange during sleep. The body remains in the present. The mind travels wherever it wishes. The heart accompanies both. Now, let the dream fade. Years continue passing. The cardiovascular system changes with age. Arteries may gradually become less elastic. The heart and blood vessels respond to decades of mechanical and biological demands. Maximum heart rate during intense exercise tends to decrease with age. Recovery patterns can change. The cardiovascular system of an older adult is not identical to that of a child, nor should it be. A lifetime leaves traces throughout the body. Yet aging is not simply a story of failure. It is also a story of adaptation. An older heart may have traveled through billions of contractions. Imagine that. Not a few thousand, not a few million, billions of cycles across a long life. Fill, pump, relax. Again, again, again. Imagine an older person waking before sunrise. The house is quiet. They sit beside a window with a warm drink. Outside, the first pale light appears. Perhaps their hands look different from the hands they had at 20. Perhaps the face reflected faintly in the glass carries lines that were not there before. But inside the chest, the heart continues its ancient pattern. The same broad sequence it followed in childhood. Electrical activation, atrial contraction, ventricular contraction, relaxation, filling, another beat. The organ has changed, but the rhythm remains recognizable, and the blood it pumps still travels toward every living tissue. Toward the brain where decades of memories are stored, toward muscles that have carried the body across countless rooms and roads, toward hands that may have held other hands, toward eyes watching another sunrise. The heart has no concept of age. It responds to physiology, beat by beat. Now, imagine looking backward across an entire lifetime from this quiet window. Not at the major events. Those can remain private. Instead, see the ordinary landscapes. A childhood street, a school hallway, rain on a roof, a summer afternoon, a first home, a familiar kitchen, a long drive, a hotel room in a distant city, a hospital waiting room, a garden, a train station, a bedroom at midnight. Different places, different decades. One continuous heartbeat traveling through all of them. Of course, no individual cardiac cell necessarily remains unchanged throughout an entire lifetime. The body is living tissue. Cells maintain themselves. Molecules are replaced. Proteins are built and dismantled. The material of the body participates in continuous biological turnover. Yet the organized process continues. This is one of life's strangest qualities. The parts change, while the pattern remains. Think again of the river. The water that passed beneath a bridge yesterday is gone. New water passes today. Still, we call it the same river. The heart's material world is also dynamic. Molecules enter. Molecules leave. Energy flows. Cells repair their components. Blood changes. And still, the heartbeat continues as a recognizable pattern. Continuity through change. Perhaps you can apply that thought to yourself. You are not exactly the person you were 10 years ago. Your body has changed. Your thoughts have changed. Your knowledge has changed. Perhaps your home changed. Perhaps your routines changed. Some people entered your life. Others left. Things once important became distant. Things once unimaginable became ordinary. And yet, there is a thread of continuity. You wake and recognize yourself. The heart offers a physical version of that mystery, always changing, always continuing. Now, let us return to tonight. Not infancy, not childhood, not some distant future. Tonight, this room, this bed, this particular moment. Your heart has arrived here after every day that came before. Whatever happened today, the heart carried you through it. Perhaps the day was busy. Perhaps it was ordinary. Perhaps it was good. Perhaps parts of it were difficult. The heart makes no judgment. It does not keep a list. It does not ask whether the day was productive enough. It does not care whether every plan was completed. It simply responds to the living body. And now, the body's demands are becoming quieter. The day can end. Imagine setting it down, not solving it, not reviewing it, simply setting it down, the way you might place a book on a bedside table. The pages remain inside. Nothing is lost. You simply do not need to read them again tonight. Tomorrow has pages too, but they are still blank. There is no need to read those either. Only this moment exists in the room. One breath, one heartbeat, then another. The heart does not pump tomorrow's blood today. It handles the blood arriving now. Perhaps there is something restful in that. One cycle at a time. Receive what arrives. Respond. Release. Then wait for the next. No need to complete a lifetime in one night. No need to solve a year in 1 hour. The body lives in moments. And tonight, the moments can become very small. A breath enters. A breath leaves. The heart contracts. The heart relaxes. That is enough. Now imagine the heart inside an older forest. Not literally, only as a picture for the mind. A great tree stands in the darkness. Its trunk is wide. Its branches stretch outward. The tree has survived countless seasons. Spring rain, summer heat, autumn winds, winter frost. Leaves appeared, then fell. Birds nested, then flew away. Storms passed. Quiet mornings returned. The tree did not remain unchanged. It grew. Branches formed. Some were lost. The bark thickened. Yet through every season, sap continued moving within. Your cardiovascular system has known its own seasons. Growth, activity, rest, change, recovery. And tonight, there is no storm, only a quiet night beneath the branches. The wind is almost still, perhaps somewhere in the distance. An owl calls once, then silence. Moonlight touches the ground. The air is cool. Nothing is moving quickly, and beneath the imagined forest, roots spread through dark soil. Branching, dividing, reaching, like arteries, like veins, like the vessels that travel through your body. At the center, the trunk, strong enough to support the branches, flexible enough to move with the wind. The heart at the center of its own living tree. Now, let the forest become darker. The branches disappear. The moon fades behind clouds. The scientific words can disappear too. Embryonic development, fetal circulation, autonomic regulation, cardiac output, arterial elasticity. You do not need any of them now. They were only lanterns along the path. We have walked past them. Let each lantern grow smaller behind us. There is only one idea left. Your heart has been traveling with you for a very long time, through changes you noticed, and changes you never noticed, through every night of sleep, through every morning. It adapted when the body grew. It accelerated when you moved. It settled when you rested. It responded when you were surprised, and when you forgot about it, which was most of the time. It continued. Perhaps that is the heart's quietest secret. It does not need to be remembered in order to remain faithful to its work. You can forget it now. You can forget this entire journey. Let the chambers disappear. Let the arteries disappear. Let the childhood afternoons fade. Let the years become indistinct. There is no timeline anymore, only darkness, and somewhere within it, a gentle rhythm. Beat, release, beat, release. The spaces between the beats seem peaceful. The heart works, then rests, works, then rests, and your rest can be much longer. You do not need to wake for the next contraction. The heart will take care of it. You do not need to wake for the next breath. The sleeping brain and respiratory system will continue their quiet work. You do not need to check whether the blood has reached the lungs. It will travel there. You do not need to guide it home. It knows the path. Let your body become heavy now, heavier than before. The pillow supports your head. The bed supports your back. Your legs are finished carrying you. Your arms are finished reaching. Your hands have nothing left to hold. Even the muscles around the eyes can stop trying. The night asks nothing, and the heart, after traveling with you through every season of your life, continues its simple watch. One beat, then another. One quiet moment, then another. And as the years fade into the distance, as the imagined river becomes still, as the old tree disappears into the darkness, you can drift farther from the story, farther from the room, and closer to sleep. Night has grown deeper. The long river of a lifetime has carried us back to this moment. The distant childhood afternoons have faded. The imagined roads are empty. The old tree has disappeared into darkness. And once again, we are here, in a quiet room, with a resting body, and a heart that continues its patient work beneath the ribs. For our final journey tonight, we do not need to travel far. We will not race through arteries. We will not climb into the chambers of the heart. We will not follow electrical signals through microscopic pathways. Instead, we will stay here, at rest, because perhaps the most beautiful thing about the heart is not how powerfully it can work, but how naturally it becomes part of the silence. The heart does not need excitement. Most of its life is spent doing ordinary work. One contraction, then relaxation. Another contraction, then relaxation. Minute after minute, hour after hour, through the enormous collection of quiet moments that make up a human life. So imagine the room around you now. Perhaps there is a faint light beneath a door. Perhaps moonlight reaches one corner of the wall. Perhaps everything is completely dark. Outside, the world has not stopped. Somewhere, someone is driving along an empty highway. Somewhere, a train is moving through the night. Somewhere, waves are reaching a distant shore. Somewhere, rain is falling on a roof. But none of those places require you. Your world can become very small now. Only the bed, the pillow, the blanket, the gentle movement of breathing, and beneath it all, the heart. You do not need to search for your heartbeat. There is no need to place a hand on your chest. No need to count. No need to listen. Let it remain where it belongs. Outside conscious attention. We have spent enough time watching it. Now, we can simply trust the ordinary physiology of rest. As the body settles into sleep, many things begin to change. Muscle activity decreases. The demands of movement become smaller. You are no longer walking, lifting, standing, or carrying yourself through the world. The muscles that supported your posture all day can soften. Your legs do not need to hold you upright. Your arms do not need to reach. Your hands do not need to grip. The cardiovascular system responds to this quieter state during much of normal sleep, particularly non-rapid eye movement sleep. Heart rate and blood pressure commonly become lower than during wakefulness. The autonomic nervous system shifts its balance. The body enters a different mode, not switched off, not inactive, simply different. Night has its own biology. Imagine entering the chest one final time, very slowly. No bright diagrams, no labels, only darkness. The lungs rest on either side. They are not truly motionless. With every breath, they expand, then soften, expand, then soften. Between them, the heart continues. Its movement is small, steady, almost private. The pericardial sac surrounds it. A thin layer of fluid helps its surfaces move smoothly. The great vessels emerge from above. Coronary arteries curve across the heart's surface. Everything we have explored is still here. The right atrium receives returning blood. The right ventricle sends it toward the lungs. The left atrium receives blood from the lungs. The left ventricle sends it outward. Nothing has changed simply because we stopped naming it. That may be worth remembering. Science gives names to things that were already happening. The mitral valve opened and closed before anyone called it the mitral valve. The aorta carried blood before anyone gave the vessel a name. The SA node generated rhythms before humans understood electricity. Red blood cells transported oxygen before anyone knew oxygen existed. Nature does not require our vocabulary. The body simply works. And now, we can let the vocabulary disappear. Imagine every label slowly fading from an anatomy illustration. Aorta, gone. Atrium, gone. Ventricle, gone. Valve, gone. Coronary artery, gone. Soon, there are no words on the picture, only a heart. Then the illustration itself disappears, and there is only the real organ, warm, living, moving quietly. A chamber fills. The muscle contracts. Blood leaves. The muscle relaxes. The chamber fills again. No explanation required. Now, let us follow one final heartbeat. Only one. We begin in the brief quiet before ventricular contraction. Blood has been returning to the heart. The atria have received it. The ventricles are filling. Inside the upper right atrium, specialized pacemaker cells are approaching the electrical threshold for another impulse. Nothing dramatic happens. No flash visible to the eye. No sound you can hear from across the room. Only tiny movements of charged particles across cellular membranes. Then, the impulse begins. Electrical activation spreads through the atria. The signal reaches the AV node, where conduction slows briefly. Then it travels into the ventricular conduction system. The ventricular muscle becomes activated. Millions of cardiac muscle cells begin developing force in a coordinated pattern. Pressure rises. The valves between the atria and ventricles close. The first heart sound emerges from vibrations within the cardiovascular structures. Loop. The ventricular pressure continues rising. The pulmonary and aortic valves open. Blood moves forward. From the right ventricle, toward the lungs. From the left, into the aorta. For a brief part of the cycle, the ventricles are actively ejecting blood. Then contraction ends. The muscle begins relaxing. Pressure falls. The pulmonary and aortic valves close. Dub. The ventricles continue relaxing. Pressure falls further. The valves between atria and ventricles open. Filling begins again. And there, one heartbeat is complete. Except, of course, the circulation does not stop between chapters. Another beat begins. And another. We do not need to follow them. One was enough. Let the next heartbeat belong entirely to your body. And the next, and every one after that. Our journey can begin moving outward now. Away from the microscopic cells. Away from the valves. Away from the chambers. We pass gently through the heart wall, through the quiet space of the chest, past the ribs, and back into the dark room. The heart disappears from view. This is how you normally know it. Hidden, and perhaps hidden is better. Some of the most important processes in life happen where consciousness cannot see them. Your cells do not wait for your attention. Your organs do not require applause. The body is filled with quiet work. While you sleep tonight, the heart will continue pumping. The lungs will continue exchanging gases. The kidneys will continue regulating the internal environment. The liver will continue its enormous range of chemical work. The digestive system will continue whatever tasks remain. Hormones will continue carrying signals. Immune cells will continue traveling. The brain itself will move through changing stages of sleep. And consciousness, the part of you that has been listening to these words, can become less important for a while. That is what sleep allows. For a few hours, you do not need to supervise the world. Imagine the day you have just lived as a town slowly turning off its lights. One shop closes, then another. A window becomes dark. A street grows empty. A final bus passes. Doors are locked. Curtains are drawn. The town does not cease to exist. It simply enters night. Your conscious mind can do the same. One thought closes. Another becomes dim. A memory loses its edges. A plan for tomorrow can wait outside. There will be time for it later. Tonight, nothing needs to be solved. And beneath the sleeping town, essential systems remain. Water moves through pipes. Electricity passes through wires. A distant traffic signal changes for an empty road. Somewhere, a clock continues. Your heart is one of those quiet systems. Always there, rarely noticed. Perhaps that is why heartbeat sounds can be so calming. Lube, dub, then space. Lube, dub, then space. The rhythm contains both action and rest. The heart does not contract continuously. It cannot. Relaxation is part of the cycle. During diastole, the ventricles relax and fill. The coronary circulation also benefits greatly from the relaxation phase, particularly on the left side of the heart. The pause is not wasted time. The pause belongs to the work. That is a gentle thought for the end of the day. Rest is not the absence of useful activity. Rest is part of the rhythm that makes continued activity possible. A field cannot remain in harvest forever. The tide cannot remain high forever. A breath cannot remain inhaled forever. The heart cannot remain contracted forever. Life moves through cycles. Effort, release, wakefulness, sleep, day, night. You have reached the releasing part. Nothing more is required. Now imagine the coronary arteries again, but only faintly. Blood enters them near the beginning of the aorta. It moves across the surface of the heart, then into smaller vessels. Toward the myocardium, the heart receives oxygen. Cardiac cells use energy. The next contraction becomes possible. Even the organ that gives so much to the rest of the body must receive. It cannot only send, it must be supplied. Perhaps there is another quiet lesson hidden there. Receiving is part of functioning too. For tonight, you can receive the support beneath you. The mattress holds your weight. The pillow supports your head. The blanket holds warmth near the body. You do not need to hold yourself up. Gravity can have you. Let the bed carry the weight. The heart will carry the circulation. The lungs will carry the breath. You can let go of the rest. Imagine your feet becoming heavy. They have nowhere to walk. The calves soften. The knees rest. The thighs become warm and still. The muscles of the abdomen no longer need to brace. The chest moves only as much as breathing requires. The shoulders settle downward. The hands become quiet. The fingers need not hold anything. The neck releases. The jaw becomes loose. The tongue rests naturally. The tiny muscles around the eyes can soften. And behind those closed eyes, there is no picture you need to maintain. Let everything become dark. Now, perhaps we can travel once more. Not through the body, but through the night. Imagine a small house far from any city. It stands beside a field. The lights are off. Beyond it, a narrow road disappears between trees. There are no cars, no voices, only grass moving slightly in the night air. Above, the sky is clear. Stars spread from horizon to horizon. The earth turns slowly beneath them, so slowly that you cannot feel it. The planet carries oceans, mountains, forests, cities, and billions of sleeping or waking hearts. Some are fast, some are slow. Some belong to children sleeping beneath blankets. Some belong to people working through the night. Some belong to travelers high above the clouds. Some belong to people beside the sea. Different lives, different rhythms, but the same ancient biological principle. A muscular pump, moving blood through a closed network of vessels. Your heart is one among billions. And yet, to your body, it is the only one that matters. Its left ventricle does not pump for the distant city. It pumps for this body. Its coronary arteries do not nourish someone else's myocardium. They nourish this heart. Its electrical rhythm belongs to this particular living system, a private rhythm inside a vast world. The stars continue overhead. Earth continues turning, and your heart continues beating. None of them need your conscious attention. Let the universe take care of its own motion. Let the body take care of its own. Now, the small house disappears. We move farther into darkness, perhaps toward the ocean. Imagine standing above a calm sea at night. The water is almost black. Moonlight stretches across the surface. A wave approaches the shore. It rises gently, then breaks. Water moves across the sand, then retreats. Another wave follows. There is no final wave, no wave that completes the ocean. Each is simply part of a continuing rhythm. Your heartbeat is similar. There is no beat tonight that needs to finish the work forever. Each contraction only needs to serve its moment. Then another will follow. One beat at a time, one wave at a time, one breath at a time. And perhaps sleep works the same way. You do not have to make yourself sleep for 8 hours. You do not have to cross some enormous distance. Only this moment needs to soften. Then the next moment can take care of itself. Let this breath happen. then let it go. Let the next one arrive naturally. No counting, no effort. The sea continues. The heart continues. Now, the moon disappears behind a thin cloud. The water becomes darker. Details fade. The horizon is difficult to see, and our science story begins fading with it. We have traveled far tonight. Even though we never truly left the body, we began beside a heart hidden between the lungs. We entered 4 chambers. We watched blood return from the body. We followed it toward the lungs. We saw oxygen cross into the circulation. We returned to the left heart and traveled outward through the aorta. We entered arteries, arterioles, and tiny capillaries. We watched red blood cells bend through narrow vessels. We followed oxygen toward living tissues. We saw blood return through veins. We explored the river itself. Red cells, white cells, platelets, and plasma. We visited the brain, the kidneys, the liver, the skin, the bone marrow. We watched new blood cells enter the circulation. We followed the hidden electrical rhythm of the SA node. We watched the signal travel through the heart. We listened to valves. We imagined ultrasound echoes returning from moving cardiac tissue. We watched an electrical tracing rise and fall. We followed the heart through movement, emotion, sleep, and the changing years of a lifetime. And now, we have returned to where we started. A quiet chest, a quiet room, a heart you cannot see. Perhaps the best journey is one that returns you home. So let every image go. The red blood cells can disappear. The capillaries can disappear. The valves can disappear. The ECG tracing fades. The ultrasound screen turns black. The childhood field becomes empty. The old road disappears. The stars fade behind clouds. The ocean becomes completely dark. Nothing remains to visualize. Nothing remains to learn. You do not need to remember any of this tomorrow. Sleep does not require a final summary. The heart itself does not know the names we gave its parts. It only knows, in the language of living tissue, how to continue, and it will. While you drift into lighter sleep, it will continue. As sleep deepens, it will continue. If dreams arrive, it will continue beneath them. If you turn onto another side, the cardiovascular system will adjust. If the blanket shifts, the body will respond. If morning is still many hours away, the heart does not mind. It has no impatience. It does not count the darkness. It simply moves from one cycle into the next. Beat, release, fill, pump, beat, release, fill, pump. Let those words become softer. Beat, release, then softer still, until even the words are unnecessary. Only rhythm, only darkness. Imagine now that we are standing outside the body for the final time. The person we have traveled through is asleep. The room is almost completely dark. Breathing is gentle. Nothing appears to be happening. From the outside, sleep can look like stillness. But we know better now. Beneath the blanket, inside the chest, the heart continues its work. Inside the lungs, gases continue crossing delicate membranes. Inside blood vessels, cells continue traveling. Inside tissues, oxygen continues arriving. Inside the heart itself, coronary blood continues nourishing the muscle. Inside pacemaker cells, electrical conditions move toward another impulse. A sleeping body is not an inactive body. It is a quiet living world, and you are allowed to leave that world unattended. The automatic systems remain. The night watch continues. Your awareness can go. Perhaps consciousness is already becoming less clear. Words may be passing without leaving much meaning. That is perfectly fine. You are not supposed to stay awake for the ending. In fact, if you never hear the final words, the story has done exactly what it came to do. So there will be no dramatic conclusion, no final discovery, no sudden ending. We will simply become quieter. The heart does not need applause. The night does not need an ending. Sleep arrives in its own time. Imagine the last light in that distant town switching off. A window goes dark, then another. Soon, only the stars remain, and then even the stars blur. The mind no longer needs pictures, only warmth, only weight, only rest. Somewhere beneath your ribs, the heart contracts. Blood enters the aorta. The arteries receive it. Far away, tiny capillaries carry oxygen towards sleeping cells. Blood returns. The lungs renew it. The heart receives it again. The circle continues. You do not need to follow. Let the river go without you. It knows the way. Let the electrical signal go without you. It knows the path. Let the valves open and close without you. They respond to pressure. Let the lungs breathe without you thinking about them. Let the sleeping brain move through the night. Everything essential can continue, while awareness becomes quiet. The day is finished. The journey is finished. There is nowhere else we need to go. Your heart will keep traveling, even while you remain perfectly still. So rest now. Let the room become distant. Let the body become heavy. Let the story dissolve. No chambers, no vessels, no science, no years, no tomorrow. Only this quiet moment. Then the next, and the next. The heart keeps watch. The blood keeps moving. The night grows deeper, and you can sleep softly, peacefully, without needing to listen anymore. The heart knows what to do. It always has. And for the rest of this quiet night, you can simply let it. The secret life of your heart, the end.